discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BG Unlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are continuing our top 100 games of all time. The section right before the halfway point, 60 through 51. Oh boy, this is going to be a sad list. It's going to be a sad section for me. I have one new game.
I have three.
I have one new game on here, and that's a highlight. That's good.
Yeah, I have three.
The rest fell.
I have three new ones, and all the rest fell except for two.
Gotcha.
I have two.
Yeah. Which we should say that because they fell, it doesn't mean they're not good games. It just means games are getting better. Let
me start this
you start this one.
All right, this one has been on my list for a while. It was 49 last year, 40 the year before, so it's dropped a little bit, just a little bit each time. And it's Lords of Waterdeep.
Wow, I'm still amazed that's on your list.
Yeah, I like it. You know, it helps because I play tested the app, so I've gotten to play it a lot more.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Because they wanted us to play the board game and the app, and just kind of compare and do different stuff with it. So I've gotten to actually get it to the table. Base game is pretty bland. Throw in the Scoundrels of Skullport, and it's a whole new game, really. I mean, it makes it so much better. Worker placement, D&D theme, doesn't really matter what the theme is.
Yeah.
It's just worker placement, getting resources, pay those resources to get victory points. I mean, really, that's all it is.
I mean, there's player interaction. You can pose people's quests and stuff like that.
The thing with this game, though, is it's more than just being a good game. It was kind of innovator is kind of the wrong word. It bridged a gap. It was a simple worker placement. It got a lot of people that knew Dungeons and Dragons and RPGers that weren't board gamers into playing board games.
Yeah.
And it's also simple enough that it got my wife and kids play it.
Yeah.
And liked it. It was simple enough for them.
It's probably one of the best gateway board games.
Right. Because if
worker placement.
Right. Because if you looked at the cover. And if you're somebody that's playing like Takenoko and you're like, I don't want to play some Dungeons and Dragons game, but then you start playing it, it's like, oh, this is easy fun, and it kind of gets them in that theme, and then you can kind of branch off of that, and go into other worker placements, stuff, so your Champions of Midgard, stuff like that. So anyway, that's it. I mean,
all right, that's not a whole lot to say.
Yeah,
I mean, the game's not bad by any means. It's nowhere near my list. I don't even own the game. I have played it, and I played it with both the expansions. And it's not terrible. It's just for me there's way better worker placements.
And that's why it's sliding, because worker placement games are getting more innovative.
They are getting more
innovative. So I mean that's why it's sliding a little bit.
So my number 60 is the brand new one to the list and to games in general, and that is Wingspan. Wingspan is, I was going to say Stone Meyer's newest game, but that is not the case. It is Tapestry. They're just on a roll. And it is about birds. Yes, I did pre-order the expansion.
I've never played this game
as soon as it was available. So Wingspan is you kind of running what are they called? Basically like a bird habitat.
An arboretum. Not an arboretum, a bird sanctuary.
Yeah. And it's through card drafting, and so you get these birds that you place in certain sections. There's a top, middle, and bottom section that they can go in, and it's kind of an engine builder. You are trying to gather eggs that can go on theirs. Those are worth points. You have end game objectives, and you're needing to require. And when I say card drafting, I mean there's birds available. And the production value of this game is amazing. It comes with a treehouse dice tower, which I thought was just really, really cool. And what's really neat is there's like, at least well over 100 birds in this, and they're all unique. Like every single bird, and they all have a little snippet of like a little fact about the bird, its scientific name. I think that's really cool. and they're all birds from North America.
Right.
And so, like some of them are just like the facts are amazing, and they all have unique abilities that they have whenever they're triggered based off of your actions of which row that you use. So that's also completely different from a lot of Stonemaier games. Actually, funny enough, a lot of their games are worker placement.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, and this isn't. And one of the things I mentioned in the discussion was I hope they do other birds like from different countries. And then lo and behold, same year the game came out, they announced the European expansion.
They just hit every continent.
They might. Like there's going to be a lot to this game, and I hope that it's not that the abilities of the birds, which they kind of tie into what the birds are about very loosely. Some are a lot more stronger than what others can do. But I hope that you can kind of tell, oh, hey, this is a European bird based off the abilities.
Well, then they need to come out with the poaching expansion.
Or you can just kill them. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, you can kill other people's birds. Yeah.
I heard that this is it's almost like a terraforming Mars. As far as, I mean, it gets compared to terraforming Mars.
Really?
All the time. I know it's not as complex.
Yeah.
And stuff, but as far as I think it's just because they're both engine builders.
Yeah, I think that's really it.
I mean, I've heard people compare.
I would argue that Wingspan is more of an engine builder, or at least a more direct one, because in a lot of things in Terraforming Mars, for example, you are one-time use.
Right.
Like there's not a whole lot that you do that triggers another thing, and goes on. In Wingspan, there is that.
Right.
So that's a weird comparison to me.
Like a bunch of podcasts I've talked about have kind of compared them, and
I think
it was weird.
I think really what they took was, well, Wingspan has a large deck of cards. Terraforming Mars has this, so I think they're the exact same. I would never have made that comparison, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's a lot more than what I'm seeing, but Wingspan is solid, and the component quality is solid, and first time designer, and a female designer at that, so she did a stellar job. I just hope that they do more expansions.
They will. It's just printing money.
Pretty much. Like it was like, because they do it on pre-order, and then they release the game like a week later. So it's like, I don't know why they pre-order and just release. Because like I know Stonemaier gets a lot of hate for not printing enough of their games.
Right.
Maybe that's why they're pre-ordering, and then it's kind of a print on demand. Who knows? But that is my number 60, Wingspan.
Maybe they use the pre-orders to go ahead and buy for the second round. Like have go ahead and be preparing for the second round while they already have some in house.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
All right, 59 is a crossover, not in this 10, but as
59 is just a crossover in general.
Yeah.
How long ago was it?
Oh gosh. It was probably in your second list.
Oh, it's that far back, huh?
Maybe.
Marvel Legendary.
No.
Voyages of Marco Polo.
No.
Big Score.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it in your 80s?
Big Score was my 95.
Oh, okay, so the first list.
So.
All right, so yeah.
Third time's the charm.
Big Score.
Wow, 60, huh?
Yeah,
59.
I picked this up at Origins after playing yours and liking that deal, and then I was walking around one day and I walked by their booth and they had a special. It was just Kickstarter version, with all this stuff for this mountain. I was like, well, hell yeah, because I was looking for it online there for a while, but getting all the poker chip whatever they call it.
Well, I can't remember the one that where you can be like, this is actually,
and just all the cool stuff. It was a no-brainer because Van Ryder games, good stuff.
Yeah.
And there really isn't much more to say about this one because, like as we said earlier, it's a heist game. It's like 2 games in one, and card drafting the first part, and push your luck in the second part. Yeah. And it all works together really well.
I like me some push your luck. I think it's a fun, as long as it's not. It is kind of the primary focus because that's where you get a lot of your money. But the game is just so fun that it's like. But most of the time, if it's like a strategy game and there's a push your luck element that can like sabotage you, it's like, ugh.
Well, like I said, I mean, you can push a game out of this in 30 minutes if everybody knows what they're doing. It's no problem at all.
Yep.
But no, that's it.
Cool. All right, let's begin the barrage of games that fell. My number 59 is still a very fun. I actually just played this the other day because I was going to play it on Halloween, but I just never got around to it. It was number 20 in last year, so it fell 39 spots, and it was number 25 in 2017. So
Fury?
Huh?
Fury of Dracula?
Nope, Robinson Crusoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would have been.
I was thinking
Halloween. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So I have the second edition, the reprint.
Yeah.
Finally got a hold of that. Way better. The rulebook is 10 times better because the first one was horrible. Mm-hmm. This rulebook is really good. So I think Portal Games is finally starting to find their groove after their fiasco of First Martians.
Right.
And with Robinson Crusoe, they had in the expansion, the Mystery Tales, they have a campaign for it, but they also have a horror mode, and they which deals with like some you can go, you have an insanity meter that can affect you, and if your character goes insane, then you have two NPCs, and your character has like an insanity card that gets shuffled into one of the decks, so it's like them hunting you or just being sporadic, and they ran off from the camp. Then you just pick one an NPC, and then that's who you got. So it's really cool because now it's no longer, if your character dies, that's it. If that character dies, they go, and if you run out of NPCs, then you still get to keep playing. So it's not as brutal. And the scenario we were gonna do was in the belly of the beast, which you had to find cultists, stop cultists, find beast slayers, and fight the beast. And they were from, Krampus to a vampire, and that's what we were going to do for Halloween.
Gotcha.
So, yes, Robinson Crusoe off the bat is not a Halloween game. But this is still a very solid programming game, really is what it is, programming your actions cooperatively. Everyone has a special character with special cards, and you are trying to survive on the island and complete radically different scenarios. The very first one is you need to build a campfire. Not a campfire, build a bonfire, and you need to get as much wood as possible. One of the aspects of Robinson Crusoe that I've always loved was if you're efficient with your workers, so hey, I'm going to send 2 people here to do this. You succeed. That's it. But you used a lot of workers. But if you spread everyone out to do a lot of things, then you need to roll, and there's a chance you might not succeed. Or you have a event that you read, do the top ability, and it's like, hey, you stumble across a cave with a bunch of fur, get 5 fur. And I play where you don't read the bottom. Mm-hmm. Have you played Robinson Crusoe?
No. I've owned it twice, and then I've sold it twice because I've never...
I think you would like it. I think it plays great solo as well.
I just always, and maybe the newer edition would be better. I just always heard, the
rulebook is horrendous.
I couldn't get through that.
Second edition is way better. But... I play where you don't read the bottom because you can kind of metagame, and I like what's going to happen. But then you shuffle into the event deck, and it can come up later. Might not, but it could. And the game has weather that you have to deal with. You have to eat food. You have to preserve your food. You have to get resources. Not a whole lot. There's wood and fur. You have to manage your weapon level to be able to go and fight some creatures because that gets you a lot of food and some fur. You can defend yourself from the weather if you find a cave. It's a really good survival game without being like a heavy survival game. Right. Game is very hard. I've lost more times than I've won, but not as much. Like it's no Ghost Stories random difficult. Right. Like the game is actually difficult just based off of events that can happen, but you're still in control most of the time. So. It fell mainly for a couple reasons. One, I didn't play it as much at the time, even though I did just play it for Halloween, which I was like, but there's just a bunch of co-ops out there now. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying this is showing its age. It's not. The second edition definitely kind of streamlined it, made it better. The rulebook is, like I said, a lot better. There's a lot more scenarios, and the expansion did help. And who knows? This might go up. This will probably stay roughly around the middle if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So that's my 59.
All right, my number 58. It was 61 last year.
Okay.
I went up 3, and it was 67 the year before that.
Wow. Okay. So
it's tile laying. My wife loves this game.
Okay.
It's Voluspa.
Oh, okay. Wait, Voluspa.
It's that Viking one.
Okay, that's the
Thor, the
one.
Nordic, the Thor,
yeah,
and Odin, and all that stuff. It's a little abstract strategy game, really. You're laying tiles of different gods you have, or different. What am I trying to say? What Asgardian gods and different stuff like that with their lore. But you'll have tokens, and you're going to place a token and score points.
Yeah.
So each and different kinds do different things. You know, the trolls can be placed next to him. Loki turns everything adjacent to him 0. Dragons picks up something, and you know, there's just tiles have different stuff, and you're sitting here laying them out in this big tableau, following the rules. You can't make longer than 7 on any of them, and you're just scoring. You go until all the tiles are gone, and you score points. I mean, it's really, it's a simplistic game. You just have to follow the rules of the characters. There's some expansions that I have that have different different tiles that get chucked into the game that do different things. But the games are always seem to be close. For the most part. Yeah. You know, from our experience, there's no big runaways, unless you don't control the people that have the damn Fenrir pups.
I don't even know what they do.
Because the more they have, like when you place one, they get points for however many more.
Oh, okay.
There, and it quantifies.
Yeah.
So it's just stupid.
It's like, oh, you placed a 4th one, and that's 90 points. Cool.
Yeah.
If you.
But it can only go 7 long, so you just have to kind of maintain stuff. But really, it's just simple. You place, and then you draw back up to your. I think it's like 5 tiles you have in your hand or whatever the whole time, and you just keep playing, and you just have to try to outsmart the other people and score stuff. So that's really it. It's It's theme. It's really.
It really
has theme. The tiles themselves have theme.
The game itself
doesn't because it's just abstract.
Yeah, I mean it's a solid tile laying game.
Yeah.
I have no qualms with it.
Yep.
My 58. Oh man. Okay. So, was 35 last year, fell 23 spaces, and in 2017 it was number 8. So it fell 50 spots from 2017. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this game. You might think 50, it's like, oh, it sucks. That is not the case. And whenever in 2017, I had just got done playing it. So this was like, this game is phenomenal. It's Twilight Struggle. So, talked a little bit about Twilight Struggle, kind of comparing it to Watergate, which was on the last segment. Twilight Struggle is still, even though I just played Watergate and I haven't played Twilight Struggle in like a year, it still is superior just because there was a lot more strategy. There's more going on. There's different avenues to victory in Twilight Struggle. About the Cold War, so one person plays the USSR, the other person plays the USA, and you essentially have like multiple eras and multiple decks from those eras. And you shuffle all the cards, so there's both USA and USSR. And you get a hand, and there's hand management. You can either use the card for a value cost to do specific things, or you can use it for its actual action cost. But if you use cards that are yours, then then nothing happens. But if I use if I'm the USA and I use a USSR card, then you get a benefit from that as well. So there's definitely deciding factors. There is ways, like there's a track for the space race that the higher you go up on that, the more benefits you get for doing that. That's how at first I was doing really well, because you're trying to basically control certain areas, like different nations and countries throughout the world to flip to your side, and you can end up controlling, and that's how you win, because you'll get points on a track. First one to 20 would win, but it's a 1 token track. So if I gain 10 points and you gain 15, then you only gained 5.
Right.
So you have that tug of war, which is very thematic. I think the game is really good because also in the rulebook, every card has a history in the rulebook for it. So if you want, you can learn more about the Cold War. But the space race is really interesting because you can use cards in your hand. And I was doing really well at the beginning. I kind of had the leverage. Then the guy I was playing against, it's 1v1, kept putting cards into the space race and doing well. That's also the luck factor. And he started gaining an edge on me and started winning. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? it's because I wasn't doing that. I was using his cards like for their event and stuff, but he was benefiting from that, but I wasn't receiving it because he was throwing away my cards for the space race.
Right.
So this game there's a steep learning curve for it. It's almost intimidating because I've played it, but to teach someone else, it's like, okay, like
Right.
you're gonna need to learn, and you do benefit from understanding what cards are there and what your opponent can do versus what you can do. But it's a solid one. This is one of those games that if I played it more, it'd be way higher on the list. But yeah, I really have no negatives with it except maybe the randomness of the space race, because it's not a for sure thing. You roll a die when you discard a card, so you could be like, oh crap, I pretty much just wasted a card. But it's pretty neat. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's like a nuclear weapon like track that no player wants to go up high.
Right.
But I can't quite remember. I don't think we messed with that a whole lot. So that's my 58, Twilight Struggle.
All right. My number 57 is new to the list. I must not have played it before our last deal. Azul.
Oh yeah,
I must have been right at that edge or something.
Yeah.
But so Azul, it's kind of the hotness.
Yeah, man, it was like
crazy.
Everyone had like Azul.
Yeah. And I really like it because I actually played Azul before I played Sagrada, because I hadn't played Azul was what I played prior to.
Yeah.
But with Azul, you're kind of abstractly building a mosaic in this church in Spain, I think, or whatever. But you are drafting. There's these, they call them factories, and you put 4 of these random tiles out on each one, and you have to choose to take one particular tile, all of that one particular tile off, and then what you don't take goes into the middle. Or you could just take something from the middle.
Yep. You get the first player token, right?
Right, if you're the first person to pull from the middle, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to watch ahead of your turn, because if somebody needs a black one and you take all the blues and the black falls in the middle, then hey, they got it. So you have to watch your other players and make sure what they're doing. But you're going to take those tiles and you're going to place them in the prepare to build area of your deal. And once you fully get a row filled up, then those move over and fill the spot in the actual wall. And there's a spatial awareness part of that too, as far as scoring goes, because when you do scoring, if it's in a row 4, you get X amount of points. If the scoring is probably the trickiest part of this game. It's just learning the trick. Is that once you understand the scoring, you're good. If you are forced to take tiles, because you keep going until all the tiles are out of there, so you will be forced to take tiles at some point. And if you can't place them anywhere, then they go into this bottom track, and they're like broken tiles, so they're negative victory points on that turn. So you're just going through and scoring with that. It's pretty basic. I haven't played the back sideboard where it's customizable. I've only just played the...
Are you sure we didn't try that?
No, we didn't ever do it.
Oh.
But then I have the stained glass one. I haven't played that one yet. It is a little different because you're building
upwards. Yep.
But the reason I haven't played that one is because I don't know, because I like Sagrada. So,
yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, I don't know. Amy, my wife, bought that one for me for Christmas last year, the stained glass one.
Yeah.
So I haven't really played it because I'm like, I like Sagrada.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm sure it's really good, but I'm like, they're radically different games, but for me, it still comes down to theme.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I have 2 games about stained glass?
Right. And I know nothing about the third one, other than I know what shape you're building. It's like almost like a flowery kind of shape.
Yeah, stain, or no, oh man, I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, but people say that they like the stained glass one better than the original one.
I'm sure. I think it was more gamery. Yeah.
So tell you what it's worth, this one probably won't stay super high because I have a nice stable of this style of game now going. So it's probably going to start following. I didn't say what. Oh, I guess it was unrated. So this is I don't see it going any lower than this. If anything, it'll
just keep going higher
a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, Azul was fine. Like for me, it didn't have like enough to think about. Maybe the stained glass one is awesome, and I had someone comment on one of my videos the other day, like why we make the comment of, well, I have a game with this. Why don't we have games with the same theme if they play different? And I mean, besides a variety of factors, space. Like I don't have all the space in the world for games, so when it comes down to it, I don't want to. I never really look at a game and think, oh, I want to play that mechanic. At least I don't. So I want to play a game centered around the theme because the mechanics are awesome.
Right. So
it's like, I'm not going to look at Sagrada and be like, I want to play a dice drafting game. So that's why it's like, so theme comes down to it, and I don't want 2 games of stained glass.
Right.
Like, so if it's, hey, I want to play a stained glass game. Oh, well, I have both of those. Let's play both. No, I'll pick one.
And I'm sure I'll get it, try it sometime and see if it, because I just don't see it beating Sagrada out.
Right. And who knows?
Because I'm a dice guy. I like dice over that stuff. So,
yeah.
But if Amy likes it,
then yeah, there you go. Yeah. My 57 was number 46, so that didn't fall that much. Fell 11 spots. And it was unranked in 2017 because I'm pretty sure I hated this game in 2017. And that is Magic the Gathering. Still on the list, still relatively high on the list. I still only play Commander for Magic. And the reason why it fell is because at the time I was playing it a lot. Like, I was just brand new into Magic, and I was like, oh, I'm actually decent at this, and Commander is this awesome new format. And I was playing casually with a lot of friends who didn't, like, because I hated it before because the guy I was playing with just dicked me over. Hey, here, play this deck. And he played a deck that would, like, easily win against it. So he basically just soured the whole experience for me. But, I mean, what can I say about Magic the Gathering? That it's been around for 26 years. Like, Commander is 100 cards. It's a format with 100 cards, 99 in your deck, and you have a Commander that is off on a sideboard, and he can come in and you spend the mana to bring him in, and if he dies or gets sent to your graveyard, then you can send him back to the board, but now he costs 2 colorless mana. So I love it because you basically find, and your Commander can be any legendary creature, and you kind of build your deck around that. And in the format also for Commander is you can't have any doubles, so it's 100 unique cards, obviously excluding lands. I tended to have a knack for it, so I made a bunch of Commander decks. Some were better than others. I made a life gain deck that was, I mean, people really couldn't beat me unless they had alternate ways to win, because my health just grew rapidly. The best deck I ever played, was not even a deck I built. It was a deck a friend built, and it was called a Guild Gate deck, meaning if you get 10 gates out and play a card called Maze's End, you just win. He had other ways to win in that, but that was a solid, best deck I've ever played. But it's also like a $1,500 deck, so that's also what caused it to sink back a little bit, because I got so into it, and I had a realization that, oh, this never stops. Like, board games are finite. Like, at least if I'm buying a game, except probably for Kingdom Death Monster, like, that's it. I just bought the game. Like, Magic the Gathering is like, oh, I need to add this card, but then decks, the cards fluctuate in price, so I just kind of quit spending money. Now, since I play very casually with friends, I'll proxy decks out, and they don't give 2 shits about it, because I'm not going to competitions trying to win. So, yeah, I mean, it's still super fun. A friend I have on the channel, Josh, that's his favorite game of all time. He's huge into Magic. He plays all types of formats. I'll only probably stick with Commander, and they just released another one. It was 60 card decks and 30 life, and it was similar to Commander, but I can't think of what it's called right now. But anyway, that's my 57, Magic the Gathering.
All right, my number 56 has fallen pretty steadily. It was 36 last year.
Okay.
It was 12 before that, and I know the very first time we did our top 10 of all time, it was in
your top 10.
Top 10.
Wow.
And you'll rejoice, I'm sure. and it's Commit.
Yeah!
And only because
it's garbage. Yeah. At this point, I think I mentioned it last time, I don't even remember. I played that 5 years ago.
I think we both would like playing the set expansion.
Yeah, maybe
because it makes it an all versus.
Oh,
one.
You're right. It does.
So it would be maybe a different way.
Yeah, But at this point, it's just kind of like just what we do because I don't hate it.
The only reason it's fallen is because I have not played it in like 2 years.
Yep.
And it's not because it just doesn't.
You have no one to play it with. Yeah.
You need to have 4 people at least. It plays with 5.
Yeah.
And I know Amy wasn't a huge fan of it. So I'm
Smart.
just like, I brought it last night. I was going to play it at that birthday thing, but we ended up playing Spartacus all night. But it's a good game in my opinion. It's the best of that 3, with Cyclades and Inish. Mm-hmm. But it's again, I'm not playing it, so it's fallen off.
Right. Did you play Inish?
Did I play Inish? I had it. I owned it.
Mm-hmm.
Did I play it? No, I didn't.
Okay. You play Cyclades?
Yes.
Yeah. I would probably. Well, I don't really like Cyclades either.
I watched playthroughs of Inish because I was getting ready to play it one time and it just didn't.
It's a King of the Hill game.
It just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
And Kemet, I have. If I try that all versus one.
Yeah.
Deal, that might be something because then you just really could. You probably just play with just 2. One person can be a bunch of deals, and instead of it having to try to get the 4.
Yeah, who knows? Because
I don't know that much about it.
Maybe the expansion did make it a lot better because the Titans expansion for Cyclades made that game 10 times better.
Right. So for right now, it's been gradually falling. It's still middle of the road. It's kind of up in there to see where.
I remember when we first started hanging out. Yeah, like there was definitely everyone in the group loved it. I'm the only one that hated it, and that's just kind of where it started. And it's funny because there's no way I would that'd be sad if I held a grudge against a certain game for 5 years. I'm like, no, it's still shit.
Yeah, and I think, and we talked earlier in other lists about showing age. I think this is one right now.
I think that's
the set. I think may freshen it up.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're restructuring it. I know for a fact they are not remaking it, but fiddling with it to probably bring it up to kind of today's standards.
I just don't want to spend because that's an expensive expansion. That set expansion.
Yeah, spend the money for it and end up not ever playing it.
So we'll see where it's at for right now.
I'd be more than happy to give it a try.
Yeah.
So my 56 will probably be higher on your list, but I'm very curious to see where it lands for you because I don't know if you've played it a lot. If Komet is anything to go off of, it was number 41 last year. Fell 14 spaces, so not bad. And it was unranked in 2017. And that is Folklore the Affliction. So, Folklore the Affliction is a Euro dark fantasy, gothic fantasy, tabletop, well, not tabletop, like RPG board game. Game from Greenbrier Games, has a shit ton of content for it. And essentially, there is a campaign, more or less. It's the story. There's storybooks with different scenarios, 2 chapters in each story, and they're all loosely related. So if you're expecting an overarching story, there kind of isn't one. It's kind of like overhead, like this is kind of what's going on, but you're not directly involved in the overarching. Right. Each story, you're just gearing up in one chapter to fight an affliction at the end of the chapter, and the afflictions are the big monsters. There's a lot to love about Folklore, but for me, there was a lot, and this is, I'll explain, there was a lot to also dislike. The biggest gripe that I have with Folklore, which is why it fell, and depending on if I play it more, it might keep falling, is the sway of dice, but the dice, it was already against you as a player. Mm-hmm. For them to hit you was way easier for you to hit the monsters. And you're always outnumbered. So with that randomness of luck, that kind of killed it because it was almost like, hey, lucky us, we managed to hit you. but we had to roll a fucking 70 to even do anything, and they had to hit a 30. So it was just it felt very one-sided at times. And around the same time, we were also playing Kingdom Death Monster. So both kind of D10 systems with dice, except Folklore uses the percentage. Really, what it was with Folklore, we loved everything else about it except the combat. Mm-hmm. Like, we loved the crafting, we loved the world, like the roaming the world. Really like that with the road events. Loved the character creation. That's actually my favorite part about it, is that you have radically unique types of characters. I played the illusionist, Kat was the witch hunter, Josh was the exorcist, and Devin was the madman. And you pick one or two sides with these characters, and that's kind of how you level up from defeating creatures, gaining lore. That's how you go up and get permanent buffs. Well, not permanent. If you lose lore, you can lose your. But yeah, relatively they're permanent. So all that is great, and even though the combat feels very heavily one sided, and the game feels against you the entire time, we still want to come back. And here's where I think the game kind of took a sour turn for us. Is in the middle of our campaign, like, their first story is 6 chapters, and we were in chapter 3. We lost a player, so it was 3 people playing in a 4-player game, really. And so there were more enemies. Their hit points were higher. The defense stays the same, but so we were essentially playing a 4-player game with a 1-man short. So it definitely, that didn't help aid us in feeling that the game was against us.
You mean like one of the players?
One of the players was gone, and we didn't take up his character.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, so we started a 4-player campaign, and then Josh, unfortunately, was working too much, and the 2 other friends besides Kat and I were, they just have conflicting schedules. Mm-hmm. So now we also didn't have a healer, because he was playing the exorcist, so we had me as an illusionist, which is very nimble, Kat as range, and then Devin as the DPS, essentially. So no healer. So that also, we were feeling it a lot more. Because between 3 and 4 players, the enemies don't change. So we were fighting the same number of enemies, but down a man. So we're definitely still interested. I very much love the atmosphere and the theme of this game. I love that the stories, you can make choices that can affect the chapter later on. I literally like all that. I think a big factor was the fact we were playing a man short.
Right.
And one big thing, which if you watch the series for it, we had the rumor cards are really cool. We went off road and ran into a rumor, and we got it. Like, we got something, and this is where the Champions of Horror chick came in. And I thought you had to do the rumor then and there, but unless it specifically says, you do not. So we fought an affliction, did the rumor, which had us fight an affliction, and then did the chapter 2, and it was long and it was hard, and I was mad. Oh, was I mad? Then I was like, I thought you had to do the rumor right when you got it, so then I was like, later on I was like, oh wait, we didn't have to do that. But Folklore is still around. They do one thing brilliantly. They label the bottom of their minis, so you know, and they also have a picture of what they are.
Yes.
So it's like, wow, because a lot of games don't do that. You have no idea sometimes, because like sometimes they have the artwork that looks different from the mini, which I hate, and it's like, just how hard was that? How hard is that to do?
Did you back the?
Yeah, I went all in. I went on it for the Egyptian or
the spire, whatever.
Yeah.
So did you? So you're gonna get the
vacuum sealed.
Yep. That's gonna be
so
great.
Stoked for that. You guys have no idea. Well, they might if they're watching a board game talk time, but no idea what it is that organization makes you play a game more. I guarantee you, I would play. I probably wouldn't have played Gloomhaven as much as I had if I did not have that insert.
Yeah.
Like.
True.
Setup, I have no problem with setup. It's the teardown, but some of these games that are coming out, especially on Kickstarter, it's like, ugh, like, and with the trays, one of the things I hate in Gloomhaven for sure is I set it up to record. Probably wouldn't be a big deal if I wasn't recording, but I set the game up to record, And so I methodically have all the enemies that I'm planning to fight. And then whenever it's like, oh, this guy summons another creature. This cultist summons a living bones. And I'm like, ugh, let me try. So it's a little bit easier with the broken token, but that happens for the same in folklore. And it's like, God, I didn't plan for this. So now I have to stupidly look for stuff. But with the vacuum seal, it's like, oh, here it is right here.
Yep.
So obviously, I think it's going to be higher on your list. I will be very surprised if it's not. But
we'll see.
But yeah, it's that's folklore. That's my 56.
All right, my number 56 or 55. I'm already on 56.
Yeah.
I'm in front of you. 55. It was a Kickstarter I got. It's the zombie version of King of Tokyo. Really, I mean the same mechanics as Run Fight or Die. Is what it's called. You ever heard of Run Fight or Die?
That's the game?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're like...
Well, it's like...
It's the same mechanics as King of Tokyo, Run, Fight, or Die is what it's called.
Gotcha,
I was like, wait, is that the game he's talking about?
So this is the first, because I didn't do because there was a new, like a updated version.
Reloaded, I think is what it was called or something.
Different art, maybe they tweaked the rules. I think fine.
I think they had more content, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I went all in on my first one, and I had plenty.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was 52 last year.
Okay.
So I went down 3, and then it was 103 the year before that.
Wow.
Well, I've been playing it a lot more. You know, it's like because it plays great solo. You know, I have tons and tons of plastic zombies and all the expansions that came with it.
Oh yeah, you're a zombie buff too.
And all that stuff. And it's just come down. You just roll dice, resolve, do whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I started throwing in the little module expansions to make it even better.
Now it's not cooperative, right? I think it's competitive.
It's competitive.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember there were like survivors that you could get, and one of them was like some screaming cheerleader.
Yeah. And
she attracts more zombies, and you can pass them off to each other. Yeah.
Well, you get the pass off one is the sick one.
Oh, okay.
There's an infected that's still alive but has been bitten.
Gotcha.
And they're with you, and they're worth a lot of points, but you can also ditch it because something happens. But but anyway, you want those. Because the survivors you get, if they're actually like competent and they're going to be, if they're a good survivor, they're not worth very many points.
Oh yeah,
it's like the old granny or the screaming late girl. They're worth more points, but they also bring more attention, or there's some negative to them. Because when you at the end, once you find the exit and escape, then you count up those points.
Yeah.
So if you survive, that's one part of the win. But then whoever has the most points is the winner.
I thought about looking into this again. Like I like the aesthetic of it. Whenever it's like if you run away, you just push them back.
Yeah, it's like you're running away.
Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of
it's kind of a smart design for such a simple little game. But yeah, I mean it's.
I think isn't there like some big like disgusting monster that hits everyone?
Zombie.
Okay,
and he moves around. Because if he pops out, because you have to get a card, it'll pop out.
Yeah,
and then you can be firing him and he'll damage you. You draw a mutant boss card.
Okay.
And it'll do something to you each time. But what's cool with the dice you roll is you roll all your dice. One of them is it's a environment dice.
Okay.
Or it's not an environment dice. I can't remember what it's called. But it's an event die, I guess would be what it is.
Okay.
So if you roll like an attack, you automatically take a wound. There's also All's Quiet. So at the end of your turn, usually you have to... Zombies will come in and keep reloading. If it's all quiet, then nothing will reload at the end of that turn for you.
Yeah.
There's different things on that event die. But yeah, bats do damage. You can get abilities that, a bat could do 2 damage for one. There's guns that do different stuff. Running, it's just great. It's a fun game. That's why it's so much higher, because with the Yahtzee style type game like that, I have King of Tokyo on the list, but this one's a lot fun.
Yeah, very stressful too, from what I remember.
But the way it's set, you have your lane that has 3 zones.
Yep. Now, how do you die?
You just run out of health points because
you do have health points.
When you pick your person, it sets at the bottom of the lane.
Oh, okay.
And it has health points, and then there's a special ability. And if you can't if you don't kill them when they're in that first deal, each one of them does a damage to you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then once you run out, you run out.
Yeah.
But each character also has their one, like a Hail Mary deal.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know, it may have like 5 books as symbols. And if you get that 5 book, then their special ability fires off, and it's like
neat.
some crazy. So it's like you can push your luck and try to get their special 5 dice roll.
Yeah.
And if you get that exact roll that's on their card, then this crazy ability happens.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can't re-roll zombie.
Okay, I was about to go, how many
faces.
rerolls do you get? But okay.
Because zombie faces lock, you can re-roll. It's just like Yahtzee, you get 2 re-rolls after the original roll.
Oh, okay.
Zombies lock.
Okay.
Because that's how many zombies will get added to the backside of your deal. But anyway, it's a better version of King of Tokyo. It's longer, obviously. So King of Tokyo is its own. It's because it's a quick game.
Right.
But this one, just the fun of it, just having the all the miniatures coming at you, because your board just gets totally crowded.
Right.
You know, and you can pass some over. Some events will let you push some of the zombies over to somebody
you know
else.
about that person.
Yeah, and stuff like that. But it's a good one for sure.
Neat. My 55 is the Halloween game you thought I was talking about.
Dracula.
Yes, just Dracula. Fury of Dracula, 3rd edition, I guess. 4th edition is obviously the same. In 2018, it was number 30, so it fell 25 spots. And in 2017, it was number 16. Fury of Dracula is a wonderful hidden movement game. If I had to guess, I'm trying to think. I think this is the highest one. I think this is still my favorite hidden movement game. Anomaly is really good. Letters from Whitechapel is also good. And Hunt for the Ring. So, Fury of Dracula, the reason why what puts it over the top is because you get to do more as Dracula. Like, so whenever you're hiding, you're not just running away from everyone. You actually, hey, it's daytime. Yes, I'll be doing some running, but at nighttime I'll be moving around and planting, plots throughout the land that'll aid me in my conquest to get influence over England or over Europe. But you also have the heroes who are actually actively trying to kill you, and that's how they win. Now, the downside of this game, which is one of the reasons why it fell, is that the game is long. Like, it will be, in my experience, for Dracula to win, he has to get 13 influence, which the quickest way to do that is if the heroes are just, like, incapable of, like, doing anything. Like, they don't find any of the vampires that are hidden, so they run off the track. What's also really neat about this game, in the aid of the heroes, is they know that Dracula cannot go back and forth. So I can't just run back and forth to 2 places like you can in a lot of the other ones. So they know that there's almost an easier, clear path instead of like, oh, well, did he backtrack? No, he can't. It fell off. So it's just really neat. All the heroes are from the Bram Stoker's Dracula. If the heroes are not using Mia's ability, they will lose.
Yes,
you have to use her all the time, and the best way is to try and but she's also the weakest. So if she gets bitten, then she already has a bite. So I think you have to also play with Dracula's special abilities. That because of Mia's ability to be like, "Are you here in this whole section?" Then it's like, yeah. Then that's a lot of information. So being able to. But they're also one-time use until they fall off the track. So I think this is still a stellar game. I never played 2nd edition, so I can't really compare it to that. But it's a solid hidden movement, and like the combat is just kind of a rock paper scissors type of combat. Not too innovative, but it's also not really that lucky. There's ways for Dracula to I love the event card. So when the heroes rest. If it's during the day, they get the top card of the event, so they can clearly see what it is. If it's theirs, they keep it. If it's mine, they discard it. But if they rest during night, then it's like, oh, they draw from the bottom, and if it's mine, I get to keep it. Or mine as Dracula. If it's Dracula's, he gets to keep it, and they're really good. So there's ways for Dracula to know information about the players, and also for them to know information about him. I think it's really balanced, so that's my number 55.
All right. I've only played it that one time that we played.
Yeah.
The 54. I played this the exact same night I played Feast for Odin. I was on a Euro kick.
Okay.
It was also the first time I played this game. So I played this game once as well. Okay. But it's all the way up at 54.
Wow.
Because I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And it is Zolkin. Mayan calendar. I have always been intrigued by this game with the big gears and all that stuff.
Cogs, yep.
But I never did pull the trigger on it. I finally decided to go for it. I played it after Feast for Odin, which I don't know. That didn't affect this, obviously.
Yeah.
But having that the gears with the rondelle.
Yeah.
You're placing your workers out on the rondelle, and they stay out there, and then you choose when they come off. So as they're turning, they get wherever they're at is what they gain at that time. So you have to time it right because it turns for each person. So you're trying to see if it's gonna, you're trying to
if it's gonna land where you need it to.
There's a little bit of AP in it because you have to really sit and think about, okay, it's my turn now. Where's it gonna be when it comes back around to me?
Yep.
You're getting corn, all that good stuff. I love the crystal, the purple crystal skulls are a resource in it as well.
All right.
So there's nice purple skulls. It's a pure Euro. There's the 3 dial, there are 3 gears. There's the big one, and then there's the other one that moves a lot quicker. The small ones. You have your different economy engines. Who
made this game?
Czech.
It was CGE. That's what I thought.
Czech Games Republic. There's an expansion for it.
Is there?
That gives you variable player powers at the beginning.
Okay.
Everybody else starts the same generally in the base game.
Variable player powers.
Yeah, exactly. I want to find somebody that will paint my gears nicely and rustically. Because I've seen a lot of cool pictures of the gears painted up.
Oh, they actually have a bunch of expansions. They have a mini expansion.
I guess, but there's only one box.
The Tribes and Prophecies.
Yeah.
Looking at this came out in 2012.
Yeah, and I just it's.
That is hilarious because that's the same year that the Mayans predicted the world would end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's called Zolkin the Mayan Calendar.
Yeah, so it's one of those games I've always had on my wish list, but until recently, I really haven't turned that Euro corner.
Yep.
Like I have Amerigo in my closet now, and all these Euros I never thought I bought. Good, Bruges. I have all this stuff. It's like I'm changing into the Euro guy.
You're being that guy, dude. There's just something about Euro games that do something right.
But this one's really neat. The art, it's really cool looking. That's why I want to get the gears painted because they're just kind of a tan right now. Some people have made them look like stone,
right?
And stuff, and it's really neat how stuff moves around. But it's obviously it's competitive. It's a Euro. But there's just a lot of choices. This is kind of the precursor to Teotihuacan.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Teotihuacan is kind of like the sequel. Not
not even the same company though.
But the same designers.
That's right. That's what it was. Because that's why I asked who the publisher was, and I was like, wait.
Yeah, it's the same people made both of them. So they kind of used some of the stuff from Zolkin and they did that. But they always have to have that gimmick, It's like the gears in this one, and then they have the mahjong building the pyramid. Not mahjong, but the tile stuff building the pyramid and stuff like that. So, that's a game I need to play at some point. I've never played Teotihuacan.
If you like Zolkin, you will love
Teotihuacan. I hadn't. So I need to try it.
Yeah, I haven't tried Zolkin, and it's always been one that intrigued me, and I can't imagine I wouldn't like it.
Maybe one we need to try sometime because it's a good one. It takes a lot of there's a lot of good choices in it. You feel good when you're pulling off the right moves and stuff off the wheels and everything. So
fantastic, all the way up
Zolkin.
to 55.
Right off that.
That's an interesting one.
A new oldie.
All right, yeah, sure. My number 55 is, it was number 18 last year, fell 36 spots. My number 54, it was number 18 last year, so it fell 36 spaces. And it was number 6 in 2017. And it is Smash Up.
Yeah.
Smash Up is a fantastic game. I honestly could not tell you because I play this game quite a bit. It's one of the easiest to actually play. it's just these other games just fucking.
Yeah, I know.
It gets insane. Like it's a game with like how many factions are there?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, there's like 70 or something.
I don't even have the newest one right now.
I have everything. I have
still need to get that.
I have everything
last one.
sleeved.
Yeah,
Did I tell you that? You sleeved yours too? Okay.
I just need that last one.
It was the one with the it was like the Mayans, oh man. They always come with like 4 now, and I don't remember.
Yeah, it was this very last one that just came out like what,
Gen
4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what Smash Up is, it's kind of an area control game where you take 2 factions and shuffle them together, and you are trying to play minions on bases, and your minions have a strength value, the bases have a break value, so once everyone's minions total equal the break value, then the base busts, and whoever has the most strength there gets the first player points, second most gets second player, and the first one to 15 points wins. I've always thought 15 was too low, but that's something you could easily change.
Oh, yeah.
Just be, hey, it's first one to 20, 25, whatever. I've actually played in a couple Smash Up tournaments. One I won. It was a local one, so not a lot of people were there, and it was broken up into sections. And the other one was at Gen Con last year, and it was I came in second? Yeah, I think I came in second. I almost won, but the guy was playing Plants and Pirates, and came out. He was doing terrible the entire game, and then he came out with a win. But it was a lot of fun, and actually, because I know not necessarily how I lost, but I played Wizards and Tricksters because for some reason during the draft they left them, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be an asshole, and because they're an annoying faction, the both of those together. But each faction has their own different way to play, and God, it's so fun. And you can make the game thematic, kind of, if you want to try and make at least your 2 decks thematic. Last time I played this, I was Truckers and Kaiju, and the Truckers are all about transporting minions, and the Kaiju are all about like destroying like the break point value, like lowering it and building themselves up. And I was like, yeah, my trucker guy is carrying Godzilla over to New York. What do you not get about that? This game is just it's a hit with everyone I play with. One of the best games to play with 3. Mm-hmm. Terrible with 2, and a little much for 4. So it only goes up to 4. Yeah, I have the bigger, geekier box.
Yeah, I have the.
I'm sure they're gonna keep going and finally end with the biggest, geekiest box.
Gosh, I don't know.
I hope.
There's some really cool factions I think that they're missing their deal on, because they had that contest
where you
a
voted
year ago or so,
yeah,
where you could even put in ideas.
Oh yeah.
You know,
didn't you have like germs?
Yeah,
as one of them.
Diseases. Yeah,
that'd be an interesting.
Because that would be cool, because you could just like, you know,
like it. That would be a lot of, in my opinion, it would be a lot of like you attach your stuff to other people's minions.
Yeah, like lower their number,
take away their abilities. Like you attach stuff to cities. Lower. That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah. I bet because each deck has to have like minions. It's like I wonder what you would do for that. I think that might be because I can think of a bunch of actions.
This is the.
This is
Fluenza.
This is the AIDS minion. It's like I don't want to play this.
That was actually my wife's idea, because I was
the germ one
that came up with that.
Yeah.
Deal.
If they could get the rights, because there's a lot of like nods to certain things, like they don't call them the Star Trek, but
pack.
Oh, is that with
the
like
cease and desist pack had like the Star Wars, the Star Trek, the Game of Thrones.
They have the latest one, the Japan, all like big in Japan was obviously Pokemon and Power Rangers. So I do like that. I think they could do a little bit more with stuff like that. They can go like a more video game route if they wanted to, but the sky's the limit really with what they want to make. I do think, because it's AEG makes a shit ton of card games. Mm-hmm. I do think that they will go all the way till they'll need a biggest, geekiest box.
Probably. And
that would just be amazing, and then call it. But Smash Up has been a great forever. It's just at this point in time, there's 53 better games. Yep. So that's my number 54.
All right, my number 53 is only this high because my wife discovered this game, and we've been playing it quite a bit lately.
But you don't like it.
I like
you're
it.
Just like,
I'm just surprised it's this high.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it makes sense because we've been playing it a lot. It was 64 last year. So
okay.
It jumped 11. It was 71 the year before
All right.
that.
Been
And we
going
don't
up.
even have the expansion yet.
Ooh.
And that's Dice Forge.
Gross. No.
Dice Forge.
Man, I forgot about that game.
Yeah. Play it with 3 or more.
Yes.
Because 2 players.
Two
it just
players.
gets
This
done
is
too
like
quick.
Yeah.
But the expansion, I want to get it. That box is just by itself too. You just open up the box and it just sits next to the board, and it's
another
its own
thing.
thing, yeah, and everything.
That
But it
was
adds
really
more
cool.
cards because that was one thing that we needed was more
yep.
cards,
Yep.
and everything. So in this game, it's just the customizable dice.
Mm-hmm. You're forging your dice.
You pop the faces of your dice off, and there's a whole tray. The box is actually the tray for holding everything.
It's neat.
And then you can put the new faces on your dice. So you're totally customizing your dice, making them customize them however you want. If you want to go more money, or if you want to go more moons or suns or whatever, or victory points. And you always have 2 dice. But what I love about this game more than anything else is
everyone rolls their dice at the same time, right?
Every turn. Even if it's not your turn to buy.
Yeah, that's right.
So if we're playing a 3-player game, and it's Seth's turn to actually buy some, but we all roll our dice and take it. And then if it's the next person's turn, we all roll our dice, take it, and their buy. And
that's right.
So you get up to 3 times, because I think it plays up to 4. If you're playing a 4-person game, you're going to have a bunch of resources.
Yeah.
Stacked up and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Every single turn. And I don't know what the expansion brings in necessarily. Some of the cards you get will be like one-time use cards. They'll just be victory point cards. They may be an action.
I think I just went for like the victory point cards when we played.
Yeah.
And we'd play it at 2, and it's
2 player,
terrible
you
at
can't
2.
do it because there's no way to
stop someone from getting really what they want.
Yeah, because you just kind of trashed me in that game.
Yeah, and
but yeah, 3 players at least. It's really good with 4. Because you just kind of go through and do your stuff. But like I said, the expansion, I want to get it because I know people rave about the expansion as well. So I don't know exactly what it does, but it's a really cool game because there's other games. I think there was some game that didn't get received too well that had where you could change the dice faces.
I think I know. I don't remember the game either.
I wanted to say Rattle Battle, but that's not it. It's something like that's what I think of as something like that. It's in that vein of game that's kind of not.
Yeah, Rattle Battle was that gimmicky one where you just drop the dice.
That's right.
that gimmick died really quick.
So anyway, but this one does it really cool and really well where you. I just like how the box it's not an empty box. It's just sitting there. It holds literally everything.
Yeah, very few games have done that. So
it's like the board folds out and it almost like folds with the box, and it's just all used up space and everything. So anyway, it's a very simple game, but very enjoyable to customize your dice.
Yeah, not
Dice
bad at all.
Forge.
My 53, and I'm combining 2 versions with this.
Cheater.
I mean, it's not really cheating if I add the, I mean, fine. This is 3rd edition.
Well, no. That's
20. No, you said it.
Arkham.
It is Arkham.
Yeah.
Yep, Arkham Horror. Last year it was number 33, so it fell 20, and in 2017 it was number 14.
Those can be combined, I think. That's fine.
Yeah, so, I mean, 3rd edition and 2nd edition are actually radically different from one another. 3rd edition has a modular board depending on the scenario they're picking, so it kind of took the... it kind of took the one good thing from Fallout, and which was that deck that basically not really event deck, but like the scenario deck. So as you did certain things in the scenario, you found cards which were like, hey, here's what's going on in the story. So 3rd edition added that, a modular board, but still kept the cards like depending where you're at, here's an event that happened. So it still feels very much like Arkham. The monsters are unique as well. They prowl, they hunt, they do all that. So they got that. They kind of took a lot of stuff from their other Arkham games and put them into 3rd edition. And I think just made it way more streamlined, made it way more cohesive. They hit the nail on the head with 3rd edition.
Yeah, I want to try it sometime.
It's really good. Second edition, Kat and I, we both recorded both of them, and ultimately came down to that we like third edition better. We like the scenarios, but what it was missing was an expansion. And of course, it had just come out, and they already have announced another expansion. Fantasy Flight has announced that they're not going to do expansions just to release it, to beat a dead horse till it stops spitting out money.
Yeah, we'll leave that one.
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens because it's Fantasy Flight. And I actually did an interesting topic on that, talking about how if companies decide to do that, then they kind of become the EA. They look at like, oh, we're just going to withhold content and release this game, and then here's an expansion. We'll see what they say, but this definitely did need an expansion for it. More scenarios, because the base game comes with 4. And definitely more location cards. That's what made Arkham fantastic, was you had a stack of location cards, so you never knew what was going to happen. And I think they got to double down on that aspect, because if it's scenario-based, then once you kind of do the scenario, you've done the scenario.
Right.
So hopefully kind of what they do, and they do in the base game a little bit, is if you don't complete a certain scenario, you get a different outcome, versus, because Mansions of Madness has that, where you have multiple endings. Right. They got to do it here, so we'll see. They're going to release a bunch of expansions for it, so I'm very happy. If I didn't combine them, it would probably be like second edition would be further back, just because it got way too overbloated, and that was a game starting to show its age.
Yeah, for sure.
This one is definitely up to par, so I can only see this really going up as more expansions come out. So, I mean, really, what can I say about Arkham? Like, it's Cthulhu to its core, and the scenarios are really neat whenever you come upon the ancient one versus just having it off to the side. So, that's my 53, Arkham Horror 3rd/2nd edition. So,
all right, sounds good. I played the 2nd edition twice. I've never played the 3rd yet.
Yeah. I think if you remember 2nd edition really at all, and you play 3rd edition,
experience forever.
Yeah. So you will like 3rd edition a lot more.
That's what I've heard. It's more streamlined and stuff. So, all right, my 52. You have played.
Okay.
I think you liked it.
Okay.
It was 23 last year.
Okay.
And 21 the year before that. So it fell off, and I think it's because...
It's a really weird... It was like right next to each other, and it's like...
Yeah, and I think I need to buy the expansion
30 spaces
for it. Not to say it has to have it, it's just because it's just going to add a little more.
Expansions kind of also give you that incentive to play the game again. Right. And you're like, oh, yeah.
Because it's Barren Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was fine.
There's the Bad News Bears expansion is what it's called, which is a stupid name.
It's so dumb.
They
just saw something with bears and they're like, oh yeah, a game about bears.
I don't understand why, but but it's adding, the expansion adds, like, there's a monorail now, a train monorail that goes around the park.
Okay.
And I don't know what the significance of it is. And it also adds another type of bear. It adds grizzly bears now.
Oh, cool.
And stuff like that. And so there's more tiles and stuff like that. But in Barren Park, what you're doing is you start off with just an empty plot of land. And you will have these tiles. There's all different shapes of tiles. There's the ones that, the regular ones that are just common. There's a whole bunch of them. Then there's special ones. There's just one of a kind. And they're all kind of weird shaped.
Yeah.
Tetris pieces of some sort. So you'll start off with a tile, and when you place it on your little board, it's a gridded out board. Whatever you cover will let you know what you grab. So I can't remember, if you cover one symbol, then you get to grab another one of those, or if you cover up I think it's like a cement truck, you get to grab one of the really cool, expensive ones. So you're covering up stuff, but you're wanting to also fill every square in that plot of land except for this little octagon, like the statue base. Because if you can fill in the whole square, then you get the most expensive victory point bear statue to put on. I think it starts like 20.
Yeah, it was a lot
like that. And then, like, also, if there's a certain thing, if you cover up, then that gives you a new tile. You can have 4 tiles at the most. However you want to lay them out, but you're just trying to fill in as much of that as possible.
Yep.
And try to get as many of those statues as possible. At the end of the game, those tiles, the special tiles are worth victory points. and then the statues are victory points. So you're just at no victory points.
Yep.
And that's the winner.
Yeah.
You just keep going and until I think the ending condition.
Oh,
I think
remember.
is when you can't place anything else. I think it's when all the tiles are gone.
Yeah.
And nothing else can be placed.
Yeah.
I think you keep going until you can't place anything else, because once a tile's down, you can't move it.
Mm-hmm.
It's done, unless this expansion does something different.
Yeah, I know Kat really liked it. It's a very cute game. Like, there's not a lot of games about bears, and even though there's koalas.
And I guess it's about, I guess I didn't say that. It's about like a bear zoo. It's a bear sanctuary is what you are. So there's just all different kinds.
Yeah,
of
you
like
get to look at it, and there's different it's very hard to see, but there's like bears on all the tiles.
It's like an overhead view of it. So the buildings.
Yeah,
are
like the blue ones are like the polar bears, and
yeah,
it was a nice game. Very simple to play.
It was one that came out because I was on that run at one point where I got Imhotep and Karuba one year because they were both up for Spiel. I think Barren Park was up for Spiel, and something, and I got it after it because it was out of print for a long time.
It was out of print. It was weird.
Yeah, but anyway, Barren Park. I wanted to get the expansion because I know it's never going to go off because my wife loves this game.
Yeah,
and it plays well with 2. It plays well with it.
Yeah, we played it with 3.
You change the number of tiles you have in the stacks for however many players.
The Tetris tile laying games are a lot of fun. Like, I've played, like I mentioned, Uwe Rosenberg's Indian Summer. That was a really fun one. He does something different with all 3 of those. But it's it's just fun. It's thinky, but not too thinky, because I mean who are we kidding? Tetris isn't the most advanced game out there, but gives you enough to be like, oh, if I place this here, because I think I did relatively well in Barren Park, and it's nice to be like, oh, and it all fits.
And games are pretty close too.
So the expansion, it was for me, it was a little too simple, which, I mean, makes me sound like some elitist asshole, but like, it was still fun. It's not like I'm not gonna like scoff if someone's like, "You want to play Barren Park?" That simple baby game.
I try to keep games like that in my deal for like next weekend when I have some kind of new gamers coming and stuff. It's like
they're definitely and that's why I have some certain games like the games that didn't make the top 100. It's like I still love them and they're still fun, but I'm not gonna put Wits and Wagers as my number 3. But anyway,
Vassal will.
Yeah, Wits and Wagers is actually a lot of fun.
It is.
But,
I have it.
Because you don't trivia makes me feel dumb. My number 52 will definitely go higher once I get my Kickstarter shit. Mainly not because of all the content and stuff I'm getting. It's going to be because it's going to have an organizer for everything, and it's going to be them. Like I mentioned, an organizer makes all the difference. In 2018, it was number 31, so it fell 21 spots. And in 2017, it was number 11, and it is the head-to-head game BattleCon. With my poster right there.
There we go,
the Kickstarter I went all in for. It's going to have sleeves. Basically, in 1 or 2 of the later expansions before they went on Kickstarter, they came with tuck boxes.
Yes.
For all the cards versus the dumbass sleeves that they had. And I'm like, this is brilliant. So now every character, which they're adding a bunch more, and they're also they're basically remaking the game, rebalancing it. They're adding like a new attribute because it's like attack, range, and speed. They're adding a 4th one or something. So I think they're trying to balance it out because they kind of just kept making characters and then they were making innovations, but they couldn't tie it into the earlier stuff.
Yes.
So then basically they kind of rehauled it. So it ultimately makes like all the other stuff obsolete, but what they're doing is every character gets their tuck boxes. There's gonna be an organizational thing. It's gonna be very nice because then
because I had the whole set too. And it was all in stupid Ziploc bags and everything. I'm just like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have it the same way. I haven't played it in so long because it's like all mine's in just a box in Ziploc bags, and I'm like, I have to try. Who do I want to play? This one, it's just like, I feel like playing Jaeger. Whoop. Right. Oh, you want to be who? Oh, Cherry? I look at my poster. Okay, right here. There you go. But BattleCon is a phenomenal 1v1 game. It's essentially your 2D fighter game. Probably the best one I can think of that's out there. Every single character plays uniquely. They have their own unique, cards that they're going, their own unique ultimate attack, which they did restructure towards the end in the other expansions. and you're literally just on a board that has like 8 spots. So you have a token, little standee, that you move back and forth to to fight each other, and you come up with combos. One is like a basic attack plus your special attack, and you just have to kind of read your opponent, because now the pairs that you play go on like a waiting list. So you can't just spam the same move over and over. You play that pair, then you play another one, that slides over, you place that there. And once you play your third one, the other one will come back.
Gotcha.
And so you just cycle that way. So whenever you play the game, you hand kind of your card list to your opponent, so they know what you can do, and you can. It's like radically different. Like if I was to fight, like there's different types of characters. There's brawlers. There's there's fast characters. There's ones that are kind of technical. If you were to play Mortal Kombat and you were fighting against like a scorpion, you'd be with Kung Lao, you'd have to fight him different than if you were fighting Goro. And that this is the exact same game. Like I definitely have my favorite types. And they're also coming with a campaign, I believe, where it's cooperative and you fight it. They have bosses that you go up against. So I'm very excited. I keep looking over here because I have the poster of the Indine's World, and I actually, since I went all in, I got like a bunch of blue and red sleeves because they're blue and red cards that you combine. I'll have that, and then I will also have this like World of Indine's book that has like everything about it and all the art and all the backstory for these characters, because they have it. Some of them are really, really neat, and I have not tried them all, but I definitely have my favorites. So once I get all that stuff, hopefully before the next time we do our top 100, it will most likely be higher. So that's my 52.
All right, so rounding out,
ending the top 50,
yep. Last back 50.
The back 50
is a crossover game.
Ooh,
not in this 10.
Oh,
probably in your. It was either in your 80s or 90s.
Interesting. Marvel Legendary.
Oh,
damn. Let's see. Well, Voyage is a Marco Polo.
Yep.
Okay, I was like, who?
Yeah, and this one.
There was actually a lot I could have picked.
This one, a little bit of surprise that I fell down this far.
Where was it at before?
It was at 20.
Oh, okay.
So it dropped a little bit, and I just haven't played it because I played it a lot there for a while, and then I haven't played it for a while, and I keep hoping, I keep searching for the expansion.
Yeah, the expansion's not coming. Go on eBay.
Yeah,
if you want to buy it.
It's just so expensive. That's what I'm saying. I'm like waiting for something. I don't know, but no, I'll play it any day of the week because it's a great game. I still haven't tried all the powers either.
Yeah.
But it's just so nuts. Good. You know, it's one of those cool things, and I guess you could kind of say the same thing with like a Cosmic Encounter type. I mean, you know. Just
looking and being like, oh,
it's like, yeah, it's like, man, you're overpowered. It's like, no, you're overpowered.
Right.
It's like, you know.
Yeah.
But this is another one of those games, you know, that I, 3 or 4 years ago, I probably never would have touched.
Same here. Yeah.
And now it's just like.
Now it's top 50. I mean, mine was.
You know?
I mean, mine was a little higher.
Right.
Where was mine? I cannot remember. It was 88. So yours is way higher, but yeah, I mean, it's still a solid game.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's I'm not going to go into a whole lot of explaining about it. It's just a dice placement, and you just are. I don't know.
Trying to get the most points. I mean,
it's victory points. You're traveling around desert, a lot of camel action.
Yeah.
And you're traveling around, buying, selling, doing all kinds of craziness.
You mentioned camels, and I realized that I don't have a game on my top 100, and I probably would have made it, and I don't think I wrote it down. Istanbul. Bums me out. I don't know why.
I would have made it?
Huh?
You think I would have made it?
I think so, yeah.
I didn't know if you'd played it yet or not.
I have Cat and I want to buy the big box because I want the expansion. I think it needs some expansions.
Yeah, the coffee one and the chocolate one.
Yeah.
Or no, the letters and whatever, and the Cacao. Or...
It probably would have been roughly like high, like around the Voyages of Marco Polo, high 80s.
Yeah.
As of right now.
I like it.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know why camels made me think of that. I think it was Middle East. I don't know. I'm just being.
It used to be called Constantinople instead of all did, so maybe that's.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what I was definitely thinking.
So all right, that's my 51. Voyages of Marco Polo.
Neat. My 51 is rounding out my list on a high note. So far, I think we both have had stellar lists, like stellar games. It was number 24 in 2018, so it fell 27 spots, and it was number 15 in in 2018 it was number 24. In 2017 it was number 15. And this is one of those games that I actually sold everything I had, then regretted it, and just bought the base game because having all the expansions made it like way too long, way too convoluted. It's Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah.
One of the best, if not the best, trader mechanic games out there.
Easily.
Extremely thematic. This is one of those games that they did such a good job with the theme that I was able to watch the show after not having seen the show and being like, oh, I know who these people are, and I know what these like ships are called, what's going on, what Cylons are. Yeah, this is amazing. And I sold I could have sold the expansions but I didn't have the original boxes because I was it was at that point when I bought it where like I was into like organizing everything what an idiot I was. So I couldn't.
I get good money for them now.
Yeah, I couldn't realistically just sell it for high end prices. So I still got a pretty penny for them. But I bought the base game back because I was like,
just to at least have the experience.
I want it, even though it doesn't hit the table a lot. I'm gonna make it a point to hit the table because it's so good. It's relatively simple to play. You place your standees in certain areas of the ship to do what you want. Then you draw a card to have like, oh hey, like the Cylons are coming after us, so we need to defend ourselves and try and get a track to be able to faster than light jump. We have 4 tracks we have people, fuel, food,
there's more,
and morale. And those are the 4. And if any one of those tracks hit 0, the humans lose. But you have the what's really cool is that unlike some games like Dead of Winter or Shadows over Camelot, which I hate anyway, but where there may or may not be a traitor, then because I know some people do Shadows over Camelot where they make it to where there is a traitor. I don't like that because you're already going to be suspicious because you know that someone is. I love the idea of like, okay, someone may not be, but in Battlestar Galactica you have you deal out the cards, and at that point someone may or may not be a traitor. But there's a halfway point once you start jumping because you're trying to reach Earth, or not Earth. That's one of the expansions. You're trying to jump a certain amount of times in the base game, but at the halfway point, then the rest of the traitor cards get dealt out, and now you know someone is a traitor. There's at least one. So what I may do in the future is if I start playing this a little bit more, I may look for the one of the better expansions because I think one of them was kind of piss poor. I think that it was the Pegasus.
The first expansion was the best one.
Was that the first one?
I can't remember.
There was Pegasus, Exodus, and then Daybreak.
Daybreak was the last one.
Okay.
I think the first expansion was the one I liked because it gave you the plastic shit.
Plastic.
Cylon ships and stuff. Yep. Because you just had the chits for
the card.
Game.
Yeah, it was.
So whatever the first expansion was a good one to get.
Then the other one added New Caprica, which was awful. I hated that rule. And then it just kind of got really overbloated from there because Fantasy Flight hadn't quite figured out how to hone in their expansions.
Well, and the biggest thing with this game, and the thing that is the biggest risk in this game, because that's happened to me before, because me and my first group played this a lot back in the day, is it's a long game.
Yes.
Really long game, and if somebody fucks up and screws up the
traitor. Yeah.
It's just and that's with any game, but this one especially because it's so freaking long.
It is pretty long, yeah.
Then it kind of ruins the experience a little bit.
I would agree with you there. What's also fantastic, speaking of like kind of like the trader and what the trader does, is there are scenarios that come up. You have to pass a certain check, otherwise a pass thing happens or a fail thing happens. But everyone has a hand of cards that are certain. You need a certain color combination, and they put them in face down. Then there's a standard deck that you put in cards from that, and it gets shuffled.
Yes.
And that's a brilliant way to hide the trader, because it's like, because if it fails, then you don't know if the trader failed it, exactly, or if the deck caused it to fail. So it masks them a little bit, because they ultimately can't do a whole lot to screw people over. It takes a balance and some strategy as a
and
sideline.
The other genius part of that game, there's the Corey Konecka is who made this game. He's done a lot of Fantasy Flight of those games and stuff. He, when you're the admiral or the captain, admiral, president, whenever you're in those deals, and you have to make that choice, because generally they're both bad.
Oh, you're right.
But you could be the Cylon, so if you're doing this things like, we're losing, we're gonna have to lose some morale for doing this, and it's like, so are you a bad guy?
Oh, you're right. I forgot about the choices those people have to make.
And the choices are horrible.
Yeah.
But that's how the show was. If you watch the show, it's like, there was not really.
They were constantly on the run. Yeah.
It was the better of two bad choices you had to make, but
and
it still makes you look suspicious.
Like, just listen to me. This is one of those fantastic games.
Airlocking people. It's like, there's just all kinds of cool.
Yeah, because you also had was the officer ship in the base game? I think it was.
Well, it was like, are you talking like the brig and stuff?
Well, no, there was like the Galactica. Then there was another section that you can go to.
Well, there was another ship. Are you talking about the other ship? That was the Pegasus. So that would be the second expansion.
Okay.
Because the Pegasus was the second ship.
Yes,
and then that's when the plastic ships came in.
Okay, so that might be the better one, because I remember there was a Daybreak ship, and then there was also an expansion.
That's brought the president in too, because the president was on that. And,
and then there was also there was a Cylon ship that the Cylon and stuff could go to, and it just got way too.
And that was Daybreak.
Yeah, I had to buy a freaking I had to print out, like, some guy made a condensed rule book. They need color coded, so props to him. But it's not the one to do that.
Berserk.
So I just bought the base game back, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy any expansions unless I start playing this again. So that's my 51.
Yeah. It's a good one.
All right.
Maybe it wasn't in my top 100.
I didn't think so, because you.
But I love the game. It's just.
Yeah, I kept remembering back to when I was playing it a lot, and I'm like, look, it had to be good enough for me to buy it back after selling it. Yep. So that's it, everyone. That is the 60 to 51 done with the bottom 50. It's only going to get better and better from here. So let us know what you think of these games in the comments below. Stick around for the rest of the top 100. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.